Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. Let me look for McKenna. There she is. McKenna, can we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Woohoo! Yes.
Get my video turned on.
And we're recording. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to launch in. So first of all, if you're on this call, huge congratulations, because it means that you were either one of the top enrollers on Sherry's team or that you're on the team of a top enroller on Sherry's team, which is so incredible and impressive. We're coming out of a hard season. The winter and spring were very hard. And so, at least for me, it feels like new life is being breathed into this team. And we have a lot of exciting people building their businesses on Sherry's team in particular, Sherry's and Mandy's. So, McKenna and my hope is to bless you and bless your businesses by sharing some of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight. So let me say a few things before McKenna takes over for a bit. So what we want for you all is we look back on our first year of building to Emerald. Those of you who don't know our story, McKenna and I took a really fast pace. We worked really, really hard right out of the gate, and we built to Emerald in 1 year. And one of the most fun parts about it was having other people on our team running with us and not feeling like we were the only people creating that momentum. It's just life-giving. It feels so good. It makes this business so much fun. And so we want that for you all. Another thing that we got to experience, I think, year 2 of our journey was the Silver Stars trip. And those of you who are new, the Silver Stars trip is absolutely something to make a goal if you've never heard of it. Every single month, Plexus awards it to 3 winners. So it's very, very doable. Every single month, the 3 people in the company who have helped develop the most silvers on their team earn this trip. And I think the month we earned it, we probably had maybe 13 or 14 people on our team that we helped go silver. So you have to be intentional and plan for it, but it is such an experience. They fly you out to Scottsdale, Arizona. They pay all the expenses for you to stay in a luxurious resort. They pay for you to have spa treatments while you're there. They provide spending money so that you don't have to spend on your food. You meet the president and the CEO. You sit down and have fabulous lunch and dinner with the executives. You get the opportunity to ask them every question that you've ever wanted to know. You tour the entire building, the manufacturing, the shipping department. You meet the compliance people. It's just so incredible. And it's not available to jewels. It is only available to people who haven't hit Senior Ruby yet. So we want it on all of your radar because you all qualify for that. But it just really requires intentionality. And so what we're hoping to talk and brainstorm about, not just tonight, but we can start up a thread with this group as well, just for ongoing brainstorming, because we want to implement some techniques that are working for people. But so far, like, I've had a lot of questions as I've started implementing it, and I've needed to brainstorm. So that's what we're hoping to start with y'all. So what we want to share, a lot of you might be familiar with it. If you went to convention, Brooke Hemingway did the breakout session for the Silvers. And she just talked about how they hit a season in their business where they were not growing and their team was not duplicating. And smart woman that she is, she said, we just had to totally reinvent what we were doing. Like, what worked for me and McKenna to get to Emerald in a year is not what's working for the people who are growing now. And I'll own that. The industry is different. Back when we were building our businesses to Jewel, people were required to have their subscription on when they joined as an ambassador. And that made a big difference. And there were lots of other things that were different then too. So we've recognized that what's helping people grow now looks totally different. A lot of them are doing it on Instagram, and I'm having to really learn some new tricks there. But the other huge piece is what Brooke Hemingway and Emily Gibson decided to change with their enrollment process and their getting people started in the first 48 to 72 hours process. And so we want to talk about that with y'all. Let's see. Oh yeah, one last thing I wanted to say. I was thinking about this yesterday. When I see that my business is stagnant, I am guilty of looking for 100 easy things that I can change to avoid the 2 or 3 really hard things that would actually make the biggest difference. And that is what I think this is. This process that we're going to talk about is, I think, uncomfortable. I do think it's going to become much more natural. Like certain things that used to be so uncomfortable in my business feel very natural now. One example is follow-up. Like when I follow up, I feel so comfortable now. I feel really confident, but it was really scary in the beginning. And I think this is the same thing. Like how I'll just look around and go, oh, why don't I try fixing that, fixing that, fixing that, fixing that? And I'll keep myself really busy, and I'll be working really hard or working long hours, but not necessarily working smarter and actually changing the trajectory of my business and our team. So if that steps on your toes or you feel guilty of the same thing, then just know you're not alone. And our hope is to talk over some of the fewer, harder things maybe that can make real change. So McKenna is going to chat a little bit about this kind of enrollment, how it's going to change enrollment.
And one thing too, before I jump into that, just really we're wanting to make this team culture, to streamline our procedures, our policies, just to make things so simple that it is almost impossible to be overwhelmed. We want to keep everybody on the same page, keep it simple. When Carissa was talking about silver stars, it reminded me, I think we did have, 11 and 12 silvers that month. But I remembered I was talking with one of my friends who's a sideline, and she had 2 people on her team earn silver stars recently. One of those girls had 7 silvers, and the other one had 4. She won the silver stars trip having 4 people go silver. Like each of you can totally do that. If you knew that 4 silvers was going to earn you that trip, how much harder would you work? That blew me away. I really wanted to reiterate that to you guys, that it is within your reach. It's not like this huge out of the question thing. This is within your reach, and this information is what I really believe is that missing link that we've been needing to help get us there, to just get things duplicating and going on down the line. You guys are doing the work. You're doing the things to see success because you're the top enrollers. And so if you can get your people to copy that, you will have it made and your business is going to be in momentum. So the very first part of this puzzle is the enrollment process. You've been going through this. You've done this a lot recently. So most of this will probably sound very familiar, but we want to go through, because the first reach out you have with somebody, that essentially is you coaching them. That's the first thing that they'll duplicate. That's the enrollment process. The first thing that you're able to start training them on as they go through the sign up process. So we really want to make sure we're doing the same things every time. And what Brooke Hemingway talks about is getting on the phone. And we've had some chatting in some of our threads about how our generations really aren't a phone generation, some of the younger ones. So whatever you can do to be present in that process, do that. If it's texting back and forth, if it's Marco Polo, if it's they signed up and you had no clue they were going to, then say, here's what I would have said if I were to have been there with you through the process, which is what I prefer. And then teaching them to pick that up on along the way. So some questions that we want to say, if we go ahead and say, are you available right now? We know somebody's interested to sign up. So are you available right now for me to call you and walk you through enrollment? I'd like to help you because the website can be a little tricky and it should only take about 10 minutes. So first we're going to ask, we have 6 steps here. First we're asking, are you ready to commit to at least 60 days? Just makes sense. That's on the company. That's a no-brainer. And they need to know that it's not an overnight fix, that they have to have some kind of give and take in there. Yes, we have this all written down, so we'll hand them out later. So they need to know it's a process. The second part of this, and if they say they're not ready for the 60 days, if any one of these breaks down, they do not need to be signing up as an ambassador. They need to be a customer or maybe even wait. So the second one, if you love your results, are you open to telling your friend or your mom about your experience with these products? If they say absolutely not, and if we know they're not going to be at that 100 PV, these are people we need to be funneling out to be in the customer experience. So for, I love her wording on this too, saying based on their answer, woohoo, you are going to qualify for the preferred customer with this discount. And then if they are over 100, oh, yay, I'm so excited for you. You qualify for this route, the ambassador route, which is this much of a discount. So being excited based on their wording that they have the opportunity for whichever place you're going to help them enroll in. And so then walking them through their ordering process. Getting to the subscription, this is why it's so crucial to be present with them, to be on the phone, because the subscription is where our attrition starts to happen and where people start to fall through the cracks. If they don't have their subscription on, there's an 80% chance they are not going to see results. They are not going to continue. And I would tell them that it's crucial for their consistency to have this in place, and you want to see them have these results that they're so excited about. And since those first 60 days are on corporate, let's go ahead and set that subscription up for the triplex, and we can edit it anytime. And then, of course, reminding them they will not be charged for that today. That will be down the road, and we can revisit it if we need to, but that's going to ensure their consistency. So that's step number 4 is the subscription. Again, that's coaching right there. You're setting them up to duplicate when they have a new enrollment. And then number 5 is, I am so excited to get you started. They finished the process. Let me know as soon as your products arrive, and keep your eye on your email. I will be sending you specific instructions for what dosage to use and how to get best results. And if you can, walk them through their dosage personally. Here's day 1. Here's what we're going to do. Here's, okay, day 3, we're going to add this in. They are going to have a much higher rate of success also, knowing that you're walking through them in those steps. And then number 6, I can't thank you enough for trusting me to guide you in your health journey and for you supporting my business. If I were to send you 2 to 3 lines, would you post those tonight? And then this will be your story of how this first post that we see, I'm so excited to start these plant-based supplements that McKenna shared with me. They've helped her anxiety, her sleep. They've helped her arthritis, whatever symptoms you have there. And I can't wait to see my own results. Who wants to keep me accountable and get healthy together? So if they, from that question, your 6th step, if they say no, they're going to be in our first category of just a product user. And so pretty much this 6th step is going to allow you to funnel them in one of 3 buckets. And that's what we want to go into more on tonight, of how can you pace your people and how can you peg what pace they are based on that answer to that question. And what I love too, knowing how my journey went with Jessica, really nudging me along the way, each step kind of helping me feel out my comfort zone and go just beyond that. That's what we're going to do for each of our people, no matter what bucket they're in. So Carissa is going to tell us how to guide our people who we know are going to be our product users mainly.
Yes. So let's just reiterate that when McKenna got started, she is Emerald now, people. When McKenna got started, she was in this category where when Jessica said, hey, if you love your results, are you going to tell your mom, your best friend, and so on? And McKenna said, absolutely not. I will never share this. Do not pressure me to share this. So she was the adamant, I will not share category. Now, first, let me plug and say a lot of people will surprise you and be totally willing. And so that's where it comes in that we have to ask this question of everybody, and we will be shocked by how many people are like, sure, especially when you word it that way. Hey, I really appreciate your support. And I would love it if you would share just a little bit of my story tonight. You never know who in your life is silently suffering. And then you literally say, it would look something like this. Line, line, line. Would you post that tonight? You're making it totally simple. So you'll be surprised how many people are totally willing to share. But the category I'm going to talk about is the McKenna category, who, by the way, ended up as an Emerald. So you don't prejudge those people, okay? We know what they say, but we also know that a lot is possible. So with that group of people that is pretty much like, no way, I don't plan to share, I'll tell you that I honestly, if they answer my first question, no, I'm not going to tell my mom, my sister, my best friend, I'm probably going to start them out as a customer. Unless they're definitely ordering triplex, X Factor, ease, they've got a substantial order and they're going to be over 100 PB each month. Okay, so we are going to, and I also wanted to just plug this real quick. Lately, what I've been doing with people who are ordering Joyome or they're ordering under 100 PV and they somehow found out about the ambassador option, even though I did not recommend it to them, is I say the only way I can sign you up that way is if you commit to an every other month subscription. Because we need you at least 100 PV if you're going to be an ambassador. So that's worked out well. Basically what they do is they set up the subscription with what they will want every other month. And then I call in and tell corporate, we need that every other month, those exact products that they have in place every other month. And I can do that for any of y'all. So that's the only exception. But in general, I put those people as customers. Okay. So we are with this group, we are going to be stellar with our follow-up. We're going to check in, just reminding them, hey, have you taken your products today? How's it going? Did you add your extra ProBio 5 today? Like McKenna said, walking them through day by day. And as soon as they have a positive result, we're going to be the biggest cheerleader in the room. So when McKenna told Jessica, my arthritis is not hurting today and it's a rainy day, McKenna was like, well, that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's the Plexus. Jessica Heffley was like, oh my gosh, I would be shouting that from the rooftops right now. Your arthritis isn't bothering you on this rainy day? How many people do you know who are praying for this? So huge cheerleader mode. And then we're going to take that opportunity again to plant a seed about sharing. So I would say, let's use you as an example, McKenna. I would say something like, oh my gosh, that is exactly why I share. That's why I love being a part of this company. Would you be willing to share that with others? It would look something like this. And then you would take McKenna's very own words and type the post for her, 2 to 3 lines. And if McKenna says, no, I'm just really not comfortable sharing that, you would say, well, how about at least sharing it with our team? That's a private place and a safe place, and people will be so encouraged. There's a lot of people on our team who are still waiting for their victory story. So that's exactly what happened with McKenna, is that she first shared it on the team page, and when she saw all the feedback there, she went, okay, clearly this is resonating with people. I need to share it. And we didn't tell this whole story last night, McKenna, but that post is the reason I joined her team. I had been talking to Jessica, but I saw that McKenna was an ambassador. She shared a very vulnerable testimony, and I thought, well, I would love to bless my friend. Okay, so the rest is history, obviously. So stellar follow-up, full cheerleader mode, and when they have a positive result, you're going to plant that seed again. I think it would bless so many people if you would share this. You never know who's suffering. You never know what will come of it. It could look something like this. And you give them the lines, and if they're still uncomfortable, then you encourage them to at least share it on the team page, getting them to dip their foot in. Really what I think the objective should be for everybody in this category is helping them find at least one accountability buddy. They may not be ready to think about going silver, but just saying to them, I really want you to have success with this. And I just know from experience that it's way more likely if you have at least one person committed to getting healthy with you. Who's one person you can call who supports you unconditionally, who wants to see you healthy and happy, and who'd be willing to try this with you? So that's the goal with this group, at least one accountability buddy. Okay, McKenna, that's everything for that product taker group. So McKenna's going to talk now about the timid sharers, the people that are hesitant but sort of open.
And one thing that I find interesting, just like me, I went from the absolutely not bucket to the timid sharer bucket to all in bucket. So we can nudge people along through the categories, but there are some who are automatically going to start out in this bucket. So for people who automatically say, okay, I'm willing to post on Facebook this post that you've given me, but I'm not really sure, I want to see how it goes, want to see what feedback I get. I'm a little bit interested in the business maybe, or I'm willing to share, but they're not sold on this being a career. So for these people, same process. We're going to stick with them with the product consistency and making sure we're getting good customer service there. But we want to help them nudge them along to think of 10 people who can be their inner circle, their people that they have the most influence over, to start reaching out to. their 10 easiest reach outs and their 10 best reach outs. So the 10 best would be people they know need the products, people that they know would rock the business. And so that's all we're asking these people to do is just come up with a list of 20. If we are having them fill out hundreds of contacts, they're going to be lost. So just 20 people. And what I love about Brooke Hemingway's pace is that she suggests that all 20 of these people they could be reaching out to in the week while they're waiting for their products to arrive. So if they're reaching out to just 3 or 4 people a night, that's it. And you can help them, again, write that message. There are lots of, I love our weekly wording tips for this. They're all pretty great ways to open the door, which is what we're doing here. They're not going to be vomiting Plexus, but again, you're feeding them little bites, feeding them, send this message to these 3 people tonight that are on your list, or these 4 people. And so, and then you're going to let them know how you are going to be there to support them. As soon as they get a response of, well, you know, that does sound interesting, or I am curious what you're doing. I love the phrase asking forgiveness rather than permission. I have always been held back from a lot of potential 3-way threads because I asked their permission first. And I've said, would it be okay if I put you in a 3-way thread? Well, that sounds scary. I think people are like, why am I having to, you know, give my permission for this? So instead, it's not scary. You can just say, hey, you know, my friend, she's been doing this a lot longer. She's much more of an expert in this, and I really think you would love her story of this, or I really think you'll connect with her personality because y'all are similar in this. So I'm just going to connect us real quick because she can let us know more about your questions, and then just do it. And then introduce them like, I love how Brooke Hemingway says, like, you're just introducing 2 friends at a party. Hey, this is my friend from way back in college, or however you know your Plexus sponsor, and then introducing your friend. She has more questions about how the products can help with eczema, and then the sponsor will just take it away. And it's much more friendly. It's much less scary than if we're trying to ask permission from all these people. So telling them that you really think they'll connect with this person's story, and we're just gonna get this person connected. I love that wording and that method. And so as your new person is in the 3-way message with you, they are going to see how you communicate. They're going to see how you do objection blocking. They're going to, and this is where you can coach them how to do follow-up. What is a smart way to follow up? How often is good? You can coach them. And each one of these steps, what's very crucial is that it does require hand-holding. It does require a lot of one-on-one spoon-feeding interaction, but what is so empowering and encouraging is that it's not going to take very long for them to see what you're doing and see how easy it is to duplicate it, and then they will do it on their own. So we're not talking about hand-holding somebody all the way to Emerald. We're talking about maybe for the first month, maybe for the first 2 months. And so as they're learning from you how to follow up and how to close, and then if they're brand new, you may need to get on a 3-way call with them to help them through that phone enrollment process. But again, it's just 1 or 2 of those and they will have it down. And as they see how easy that is, they may move along then to the next bucket, which Carissa is going to share about.
Okay, so some people, they get started and they're automatically like ready to take off running. So if as you work through those 6 enrollment steps, they're like, yeah, I'm totally down to share. Yeah, I'm totally down to tell my mom and my best friend, like, bring it on. Yeah, I could use the extra money. I've seen your posts. Like, I would love an extra $500,000, $2,000 a month. If they're talking like that, then they can handle quite a bit more. And we don't have to worry as much about overwhelming them. Although we would still recommend just like not so much that you just overwhelm them with videos and resources, but just that you can be checking in with those people daily to offer them a tip or a challenge or extra wording, all of that, you know. And what I loved what Brooke Hemingway said was, for the people that are showing up for you, show up for them. So with these people, they're not going to be freaked out by a bigger list. And so the goal is going to be to help them create that list of 64. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's amazing. The list of 64 was created by corporate, and it was announced last year at Super Saturday. And it basically says like, okay, come up with 10 people who really need the products for their health. Okay, come up with 10 people who you admire because they're really influential. Okay, come up with 10 people. Like it kind of breaks it down and makes it really manageable. So we have it everywhere. Like it's in your back office resource library. It's in the files tab of the Paladins page. But if you don't know where to find it, we're happy to show it to you. So you're going to show them that list and encourage them to get that written out. And again, we're just telling people, stream of consciousness. Do not rule anybody out. Do not prejudge. You never know. You know, let them, if they're going to say no, let that be their decision, not yours. That's what I always say. And the goal is going to be for them to reach out to that entire list in their first month. And the hand holding is going to be the same. So you're going to say, okay, you're all signed up. This is amazing. First thing we want to do is get a post out on your social media. It's super simple. It's not intimidating. All you're going to say is, I'm so excited to start these natural products my friend McKenna just shared with me. They've helped her amazingly with her IBS, her anxiety, and her arthritis. I can't wait to see what they're going to do for me. Who wants to get healthy together? And so they're going to get that out there on their social media, and you're going to be watching their posts like a hawk. And the same goes for the other group, the hesitant sharer. They're not going to automatically know what to do. So you're going to watch that post. And y'all, this has worked so well for me as I've been implementing this since convention. When you see some likes and comments on their post, you're going to reach out to your ambassador and say, okay, here's what I want you to say to the people that liked that post. And again, we're keeping it super simple. We're giving them words so that they don't feel freaked out. So they're going to go, McKenna, I so appreciate your support on my post from tonight. That means the world to me. Would you be open to hearing more of my story as I keep going? Or, they could say, what caught your eye? Are you struggling with your health? Either of those things, but you're going to give them the follow-up wording. Give them the words for every like and comment on their message, and then you're going to help them reach out to their 64 list in that first month, and you're just going to give them sample messages. So with somebody who doesn't have their own story, they're not going to reach out and say, hey, could I share my story with you? But we are all obviously top enrollers, so we know how to do this. It's reaching out short and sweet and saying, hey, your name has been on my heart. There's something that I'm trying that I've heard a lot of amazing testimonies about, and I really think it could bless you. Would you be open to trying this with me? Or does this sound like something you'd be willing to do with me? Especially if it's that inner circle group, the people that just really love and support you. We're just saying, hey, I would love for you to try this with me for 60 days risk-free. I don't know what it's going to do for me, but I would love accountability. I would love a buddy doing this with me. We're just giving them those words, helping them reach out to those people in their first month. Also think it's really important to set low expectations for these people. Obviously, we want to speak life over them and speak life over their mindset and their belief. But at the same time, tell people, hey, listen, you're going to do this post. And let me just tell you from experience, like, you never know who Facebook is going to show it to. Like, there will be a ton of people on your friends list who won't even see it. If you don't get a lot of likes or comments, don't let that discourage you. That is totally normal. It's Facebook being Facebook. You just got to keep at it. So you're setting that expectation low. Same goes with their messages, saying, okay, so we're going to reach out to this list of people. And if people don't respond, or if people aren't ready to jump in right after they hear from you, don't feel like you're doing anything wrong. It is so very normal for people not to be ready right away. And you know what? Sometimes people see your message and they forget to respond. Sometimes they just don't see it. So do not feel like you're doing anything wrong if you don't get a ton of responses back. You know, statistically, like 1 out of 10 people are ready to jump in right away. So you're doing great. So just setting that bar low. And then also with the rank ups, these people, you want to let them know about the Fast Start Gold option and let them know, hey, if you want to really, really sprint from day one and front load your team, get 20 ambassadors in those first 30 days, here's what's possible. You know, double bonuses, amazing. And it's hard work, but super fun, super doable. But at the same time, let me just encourage you that what's typical is for people to rank up maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So you've got some people that just sprint to the top and they don't have an off switch and they just go, go, go. But if you're ranking up 2 or 3 times a year, that's totally normal. That's really amazing. So just setting those expectations to where they don't feel like, oh, doors are slamming in my face. People are ignoring me. I'm obviously doing something wrong. Not true. Okay, so you never know when you're going to find a runner, but for sure, if we are not doing these things, we will miss out on so many potential runners. And I want to go back to the McKenna example. I also would love to bring up the Emily Gibson example. When Emily Gibson is Brooke Hemingway's diamond, she has reached diamond and she's re-entered. She's diamond gold. And when she started, she tried to return her welcome pack before it even came because she got cold feet. And so Brooke has said many times that the timeline is so important here. When somebody enrolls with you, we sort of feel like, oh, I did all that hard work. I got them. Okay, I got them. But we really don't have them at all. Their belief isn't solidified. They still don't know what they're necessarily getting into. And so having that timeline in our minds of getting them sharing in that first 48 to 72 hours, because if somebody gets one buddy doing this with them, they're more committed. They're not going to return their welcome pack if they've said, okay, best friend, let's do this together. Or if they've posted and they've reached out to some of the people that have commented on their post. So definitely, and 2, just the fact that like you may be a great enroller, but that's going to get you to maybe gold, possibly senior gold. But if your team is not duplicating, then that is a very frustrating place to stay. That feels like a hamster wheel. Constant work, but never feeling the exponential growth. So this is what we got to do to get that duplication happening. And I didn't say this last night, McKenna, but I loved in one of the other calls we heard, what would happen if you just showed up and did this with every new enrollment and you did your 3, 6, 9, 12 every single day, regardless of the results. Like we're so susceptible to feeling like, oh, that person ignored me. I'm done trying, or this is too hard. But what if just regardless of the results, we did these 6 steps with every enrollment and we sat down and did a 30-minute 3, 6, 9, 12 every single day? We would succeed. We would grow. And you just can't let all those, if 9 out of 10 people aren't ready yet and you let those people stop you, that's how you guarantee you're not going anywhere. Okay. And then with our level 1s, like our all-in people, let's use that as an example. You're walking them through how to follow up with the people who comment on their posts. You're walking them through how to reach out. You're getting in threads with them to help them through those conversations, just guiding them, making sure they're asking a lot of questions and not puking Plexus on people, doing all the right things. And then as soon as that person's ready to enroll, you're going to say, okay, now you're going to do exactly what I did with you. You're just going to super casually say, hey, let me call you up real quick. It's way easier if I explain it over the phone. And then you're going to work through these 6 steps with them. And then if they want to on that first call, have you jump on with them, totally fine. You only have to do that a few times before they're going to go, okay, I can totally do this on my own. But it's so crucial that they experience that with you first, because they're going to duplicate what they experienced. And I actually asked Brooke this question, so I'll throw this in. We see, especially among millennials, like there's some resistance to getting on the phone, or like scheduling a call is too difficult. And so I asked Brooke, what do you do about like millennials who like do not want to get on the phone, or it's super hard to get them on the phone? And she said, honestly, I just treat it really casually. Like, hey, since you and I are chatting right now, let me call you real quick. It's much easier to explain on the phone. It'll take 5 minutes. Again, she's not asking for, hey, what's your schedule? Can we set up a call? She's just like, hey, let me call you real quick. It's way easier over the phone. So she pretty much always gets on the phone. But I did have one girl who said, well, one of my people just signed up with my link without even telling me. So I told her to voice message that person and say, hey, I noticed you got signed up. That's super exciting. I want to go ahead and ask you these 6 questions because I do this with everybody who joins my team, and I don't want to skip doing that with you because you're going to do the exact same thing when you start signing people up. So going back and still doing that process, even if somebody bypasses getting on the phone with you. Okay, I think I covered all of my stuff.
Great. But we're really excited to see how this is going to trickle down through your teams. And I know with back to school, new routines and new consistency, recommitment tends to happen as we get back into our schedules. And so I feel like summer's typically slow. And for y'all to be sitting here tonight as top enrollers during the summer, that is huge. And I'm just so excited for what y'all can do in the fall. And I know I got the opportunity to speak with Charles at convention, and in the store I bumped into him, and he was just saying how they're really strategizing, how they're rolling out things at perfect times to where we don't have a slow season, how they're just perfectly positioning new products or new got a sneak peek for a new fun customer service thing that may be coming up soon. So just lots of new stuff that's going to add to your momentum. And if you're putting these systems into place, you are going to just have so much momentum. It makes me so excited to see, because we haven't seen momentum like Brooke Hemingway is having on our team for a while now. And for Brooke to go not only to Diamond in a year, but also likely she will be double Diamond in 2 years. This is some stuff that obviously is working, and it is worth duplicating because her whole team is duplicating it and having success with it. So we're just so proud that you guys have been showing up and doing the work, and that you're on here tonight. Just warms our hearts to get to chat with you and get face to face with you and say thank you for your hard work. And we're just excited to walk with you in this new season and see how it blesses you.
And Sherry, if you could create a Facebook thread with everybody that was on this call, because like I said, I feel like the brainstorm needs to continue a bit beyond this. Like, as you guys start implementing this, we want to know how it's going. If you run into any obstacles with it, we want to know. I literally have we have a direct line to Brooke Hemingway. Like when another group we did this call with said, I'm really struggling to get my millennials on the phone, I was like, Brooke, how do you get your millennials on the phone? So we recognize that it's a hard step to take. It can feel a little scary, but it's going to feel more and more natural as we do it. But it's going to probably be an ongoing process of perfecting it. So Sherry, let me find you so I can see your face. Okay. Are you cool with creating a thread? Okay. You create a thread.
And you guys want to be on that thread, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like literally we did a call last night with some of my outside leg top enrollers, and this morning I got an email that one of the girls on that call recruited someone. So I messaged her this morning like, how did it go? I really want to know. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks again, y'all. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer those in the next minute or so, but we'll chat with you guys in the thread too. See how it's going.
Oh, and in the thread, am I muted? Okay. In the thread, if you're wanting those 6 steps that we want to duplicate for the enrollment process, we'll put them in there.
There's also a flow chart of all the 3 different buckets that I want to get out to you guys, because I think that's really helpful to see it broken down. So I'll put that in there as well.
Sweet. And can we get the recording in there for the people that couldn't get on tonight?
Yes, I'll upload that to YouTube tonight. So as soon as you get the thread up, I'll try and put that in there as well.
Yay. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.